Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the East Lindsey series. This is the biggest district in Lincolnshire, containing 188 civil parishes. Without further ado, here's today's offering. Welcome back to East Lindsey, everybody. Now, welcome to a village that I've been looking forward to doing for quite a while, actually. This is going to be a nice little walk. There's no extraterrestrial bits in this one. It's just a simple walk around what is one of the most beautiful Lincolnshire Wolds villages I think I've ever seen. Welcome to Binbrook. The East Lindsey series is sponsored by Gainsborough Cycles 01427 617 752. For all your cycling needs, this is your one-stop shop, located at 20 Ropery Road, Gainsborough, or online at gainsboroughcycles.com. There's a link in the description. Gainsborough Cycles, ask for Trevor Halstead. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Welcome to Binbrook, one of the prettiest of all the Lincolnshire Wolds villages. It's situated on the B1203, 8 miles away from Market Rasen. Binbrook is the village associated with the RAF base of the same name, which is within the West Lindsey parish of Brookenby. As we learned in that Brookenby episode, between the two villages is the lost medieval settlement of Orford, once the site of a priory. Of course, the village is dominated by RAF history, as you might expect. There are several buildings here which were used by them or had some other kind of connection. There's a squadron memorial too on Kirmond Road, and if you know where to go, you can even find yourself standing in front of a genuine piece of RAF hardware. Stick with me on that one. Binbrook shares its name with a town in Ontario, Canada. It used to be a market town at one time and was once much bigger. Its standout feature is arguably its church, which was built to replace two former buildings. Towering over everything, it even has a nickname. To go with that, there's a host of other listed buildings, including two historic pumps, an 18th century manor house, and a former pub, which is even older than that. And Binbrook was the birthplace of the traditional singer Joseph Taylor, one of the Lincolnshire singers recorded by Percy Grainger. Let's see how many people are singing Binbrook's praises as we make our way around this pretty little corner of East Lindsey. We begin on Manor Drive, right in the centre of Binbrook village. It really doesn't matter where you are in the place, you're always going to get a good view of the church and its tall, bulky spire. Manor Drive is perhaps one of the best spots. Here we can see it rising admirably out above these houses. The church is dedicated to St Mary and St Gabriel. An unusual dedication maybe, but one that makes sense when you consider it was built to replace two former churches. One was dedicated to St Mary, the other to St Gabriel. This new church was built in 1869 using stone from both of its predecessors. All of its fittings date from 1869 too, apart from the 1884 chancel screen and the 14th century font. The church is formal for a village. Built in ironstone with a tall tower, brooch spire, nave, aisles and a chancel, its sheer size plays a huge role in its nickname, the Cathedral of the Wolds. And guess who built it? James Fowler. If you think that's a good start, you ain't seen nothing yet. Binbrook is a beautiful place, it really is. I'm going to have a smile welded from ear to ear all the way around this one, I can tell you that for free. Let's turn around here at the end of St Mary's Lane, and you can see there we've got a fire station. That's our next thing to talk about. As you might expect, there aren't a massive amount of fire stations in the Lincolnshire Wolds. Binbrook's was the first station in Lincolnshire to have its very own dedicated Facebook page, allowing it to interact directly with the community it serves. Next, we take a walk up the pretty steep Spring Hill, which leads to Spring Bank. Both of these streets' names are references to the many springs and wells in this part of Lincolnshire. There's too many to list them all. Now then, why might there be all these cars in this drive? It looks like someone's drive, but it is in fact the car park for Binbrook Surgery, which is away to our left. Springbank then becomes residential, so there isn't a lot to say here. This row of neat houses leads us to South Rise, which is more of the same. It's a steep drop back down the hill again as we make our way towards a footpath at the end of St Mary's Lane. Now things are about to go up a gear. Okay, so we've reached a footpath that will take us to the southernmost tip of the village. It crosses some private gardens, which is where I am now, but I'm still on the footpath, so this is perfectly legal. Here we go. Just coming out of the gardens now and onto the next part of the footpath. Let's go across this stile. I hate stiles, I really do. Much prefer gates. So much easier to manage with a camera in my hand. There we go. There you go, you see private garden, please keep dogs on lead. Footpath, follow this, takes us to the southernmost tip. Kind of has to be done. Hey? Kind of has to be done.
How many have you done so far?
Nearly 1,000.
Yeah?
Yeah. You just heard me there chatting to one of the locals. He pointed me in the direction of Chestnut Farm and suggested knocking on its door. The reason why is because of this. Not your average garden feature, is it? This is one of Binbrook's electric lightnings, XR725. This isn't a replica, it's the real thing, and it's complete too. Its owner is Charles Ross, the president of the Lightning Association. When it was in operation, this plane was part of number 11 Squadron and was used by the squadron leader. Only 4 Lightnings ever crossed the Atlantic Ocean. This is one of them because it was used in an airshow in Toronto, Canada in 1968. I can't really top that in this episode, can I? Once I'd picked my jaw up off the floor, I carried on. This little conservation garden a few properties up was next, another unique little feature, but honestly, it took me a few minutes to digest what exactly I'd seen. If you're watching, Charles, thanks for allowing me to film the lightning. I don't think I've ever been to a place before where the people are just so friendly and just want to talk to you. It's amazing how many people have actually spoken to me so far in this episode. The guy who showed me around the lightning is very knowledgeable about his subject. If you want to know a bit more about the lightning, he's the man to go and see. And that plane is absolutely amazing. Here's a Methodist church, one of 7, yes really, that Binbrook has had to its name. This one was a Wesleyan chapel built in 1878. It closed in 2003. Opposite that is a building that now functions as a community meeting place, but was originally a reading room and a library, opened in 1882. This little hut was interesting. According to one of the locals I was chatting with earlier, this was a cobbler's shop at one time. I wonder what it's used for now. Next door is another one of the former chapels. This one again was Wesleyan and preceded the one we've just seen. It was built in 1816 and closed in 1878 when the other chapel opened. After that, the road starts to gently decline as it makes its way into the marketplace. If you continue down here past these charming little terraces, all with a lot of curb appeal, as Nicky would say, you'll hit it. However, we're taking an alternative route to the marketplace, via the plough. Okay, now we're going to cut through the car park of Binbrook's pub, which is just behind this house right here. It'll take us to the road that's adjacent to this, not adjacent, parallel, should I say, and it will take us to the marketplace behind these properties. And there's a lot in this marketplace. Let's go see it. Binbrook's pub is called the Plough. I was expecting this to be open, but thanks to the shock resignation of its manager in 2020, it's currently closed. It's not clear how long the pub will be closed for, or if the owners are on the hunt for a new manager. Hopefully this will reopen soon, as it was quite the popular pub. Next, we've got the Manor House. Its oldest parts go back to around 1700, making this one of the oldest properties in Binbrook. In front of it we find the village's war memorial. This is a simple black panel on 2 legs. There are 23 names on this one, all of whom died in World War I. If you turn around, you're then facing the gorgeous little market square, where Binbrook's weekly market was once held. It lasted until 1911. There's 2 historic pumps in Binbrook. This one in the marketplace was installed in 1910 by Amy's and Barford of Peterborough. Both it and its bollards are Grade 2 listed. How can one little village centre have so much? It's ridiculous. It's also got this bus stop which has got a parish notice board. Here we go. It's a pin board as well, and you know how I prefer pin boards. It's actually termed a community notice board, but it's all the same thing. TVI card goes on there, and Binbrook is complete. Now also within this bus shelter you've got this amazing painted mural. Look at this, with the church spire towering above the village there, and away in the top right corner, the lightning flying across the village. That seems apt, doesn't it? We're about to leave the market square behind now, but just before we do, here's the phone box. This one's still got a working phone. That's a rare find. Now, we've already seen the current pub, but Binbrook used to have a second one, and it was called the Marquis of Grimsby Inn. A much more historic building, it dates back to at least 1695. Here's the pub right here. During World War II, it was popular with RAF personnel from the nearby airbase. In 1999, it was restored and converted into offices. The road then starts to bend to the right and starts to climb a shallow hill. There's some interesting houses up here. Check out this one, for example. At the top of the hill is the village hall. Named Queen's Hall, this was originally another of the Methodist chapels. It was a United Free Chapel between 1855 and 1934, and it became the village hall in 1959. In the intervening years, it was a youth club, and during the war it was let to the Air Ministry. Oh, and speaking of the RAF... And if you keep walking to the top of the hill, you'll pass Wolds View Residential Park. It's got some caravans in it. And then on the corner here, you have a memorial to those who served in the war. 460 Squadron, the Royal Australian Air Force. Remembering those from Binbrook and also from Breeton in the East Riding of Yorkshire from 1941 until 1945. Brilliant. Oh, and the Roll of Honour, by the way, is inside the church. So says this stone here. So there's the memorial. Now, this is the part I didn't really know anything about, quite frankly, because I'm going to cross the road here. You can see over there there's a school. That's Binbrook's primary school. Now, there's meant to be a footpath somewhere here that goes through, repeat, through the school. I wonder if it's that over there. I don't know for definite. So we're just going to walk down here and see. It should bring us out onto North Halls, if I've got this right. So the school is to my left. I'm purposely not putting the camera on it because it's almost school kicking out time. There'll be kids all over the place in a moment, but you get the idea. The school is to the left. Yes, here is the path. So this takes us to North Halls. It goes through the school's playground, which is ridiculous, but you know, it's a public right of way, you can't just block it off. To North Halls. After crossing the playground, the path makes its way through a recreation ground, which is a small grassy area behind the school. The path then leads onto the narrow North Halls, lined with some more attractive buildings. This takes us to Grimsby Road, where there's a handful of landmarks remaining. One of them is Binbrook's old police house. Built in 1852, this included both a lockup and a house for the sergeant. It's now a private residence. Dead opposite this is the other pump. This is 19th century and was purposely built at this height to enable the local hill farmers to fill their water carts easily. This was restored in 1996 and it's a listed structure. Next we have Binbrook Motors, a traditional family-owned garage which has been here since 1981. Quite the busy place. And lastly, this drive here leads to a small garden called Fern Nursery and Binbrook Bowling Club, which was founded in 2007. I don't think there's much more you can say about Binbrook. It's a village that truly has got everything, and it's beautiful too. I opted to leave Binbrook via the road to Market Rasen, which passes through some more hills and valleys, some of which are quite steep. As I left the village behind, I couldn't help but think to myself how great it must be to live in the Lincolnshire Wolds. Think about it. You're surrounded on all sides by stunning countryside and some of the most historic and interesting places that this county has to offer. Binbrook truly is a gem amongst gems. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.